Hi everyone, Nova here from Brighter Outlook Narcissistic Abuse Counselling Service with another live stream narcissistic abuse recovery question, answer and support session. It feels like forever since I've done one of these on Facebook, so it's wonderful to be back. Okay, everyone, for those of you who are new, welcome. I'm Nova from Brighter Outlook and it's lovely to have you here. Please get it right, Nova. Please just comment your questions below around your narcissistic abuse recovery, and I promise that I will answer as many questions as I possibly can. And please say hi. Let me know whereabouts in the world that you're tuning in from. Okay, we have a lovely surprise today in Brisbane, probably tonight if you're in the States, or in the very early hours of the morning if you're in the UK, I would imagine. We've got David Demars joining us here again. I've missed David so much. It feels like forever since we've done one of these live streams together, so it's wonderful to have him back. So yeah, David will be answering your questions as well. Now guys, you can really help us out by, if you can, by sharing, okay? Sharing helps us to, I guess, spread awareness about narcissistic abuse through to all the four corners, all the rest of the world, because narcissistic abuse, it's not gender specific and it's certainly not culturally specific. Narcissistic abuse can affect anyone, and it does. So yeah, please help us to spread awareness, and that would be wonderful. If you can't, that's totally understandable. Please just remember that this is a public educational page. It is not a private group. You always have to ask permission to join a private group. So just be careful and make sure that your privacy settings are set very, very high if you're worried about sharing or, of course, commenting. Okay, and of course, guys, don't forget that if you are after that one-on-one support in your narcissistic abuse recovery, I am a counsellor here in Brisbane, but I Skype people all over the world. So if you want a little bit of one-on-one support, please just inbox me here, and I would love to help you in your healing journey. Now, I'm just going to have a little look out for David, and as soon as I see him here, Facebook permitting, I will let him in. Okay, just talk amongst yourselves, everyone. We've got Adrian Egdon is there, says, hi, beautiful lady. Hi, beautiful lady, right back at you, Adrian, and thank you so much for joining us here. It's wonderful to have you. Okay, David, let me see if I can see you here. I hope you've said hi. No, whoops, not seeing you yet, David. So just say hi in the comments, and as soon as I see you, I think I can just hit on the comment and let you in that way, but I'm not actually seeing you. Okay, so I'm just going to say a few hellos until I can see David there. So we've got Laura Axe is there from Ottawa, Ontario. How are you going, Laura? Wonderful to have you. Liana Remo is there from all the way from California, and it must be getting a bit cooler there, I would imagine, because it's doing exactly the opposite here, which is it's starting to get a bit warmer. Amber Price is there. Hey Amber. We've got Deborah Donley there all the way from Massachusetts. How you going, Deborah? Okay, David, where are you? Okay. Sometimes Facebook doesn't like to play ball, so I'm just looking out for David. Yeah, not seeing you yet, David. Yeah, just keep trying to get in, and as soon as I see you, oh, there you are. Gotcha. Bring David on. Let's see if that works. Yes. Hey David, how are you?
Hi, Nova. Good. How are
It's
you?
so good to have you back. I know so many of the people who follow Brighter Outlook have been constantly asking me, when are you going to get David back? When are you going to get David back? So, yeah, I know there'll be a lot of happy people out there to see you joining us here again. So, thank you.
Thank you. I've had a lot of people excited and a lot of people asking when I'm going to do this with you again. They were really looking forward to seeing
Yeah,
us again. Yeah.
I've missed it. Okay, well, let's not waste any more time. Let's get into it. What are we going to talk about tonight, David?
Oh, how about narcissists?
Narcissists? Yeah, okay, let's do that.
Yeah.
All
Uh,
right. Um,
Go ahead.
no,
Go ahead.
okay, so we had a bit of a chat earlier on, and we thought we might talk about something that I know a lot of people have been asking me about this week especially, and that's to do with, will the narcissist treat the next target any better? You know, will they get the good side of them when you know I only got the bad side? Will they treat that next person better than they treated me? Because if they treat that person better, and I find this is kind of the way people are thinking, if they treat that person better than me, then there must be something wrong with me. It must have been my fault. And it just goes to reinforce the narcissist conditioning of the victim, which is, it's your fault. You hadn't done anything wrong, I wouldn't have left you.
That's right. Yeah. And, personality disorders often take quite a while to surface in relationships, the problems, the behavioral traits. So they leave their one victim, they go to a new relationship, and it's usually immediate, and they're not facing the loss of the relationship, the depression, and no introspection, things like this. So they jump right into a new one to help them, feel better. But and it could be really great in the beginning, like we know they were like that with us often. And so
Yeah.
we see this sometimes, which hopefully we don't look, and that's an important part. But we'll see
Yeah.
them, put them on a pedestal and be on their best behaviors and things like this, and it can really throw the victim off after leaving such a horrible, horrible relationship. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And you made a really good point there, which was, hopefully we don't look. But, you know, truth be told, honestly, and you can understand how many people do that. How many people don't look because they're trying to, you know, make some kind of sense out of the absolute chaos that just happened to them. You know, there's no closure.
Yeah.
They're discarded like yesterday's trash, and
Mhm.
then they hear of their partner sailing off into the sunset, potentially with a new victim that, well, I guess they're not thinking of them as a victim, but with a new person who they just seem so in love with, and you've been treated absolutely horrifically. uh, I guess it's understandable. You wouldn't be able to help yourself but look, until you know just how damaging that is, and that's contact.
That's right. And we have, people telling us, maybe even our own friends, hey, I saw them on Facebook. I saw them the other day with another, girlfriend or boyfriend. And so sometimes it's really difficult to avoid that, to look. And you nailed it with no closure. No closure. Closure is so important at the end of relationships. And, it doesn't matter how you feel about somebody when you lose someone. And these types of relationships are so involved. I mean, they're so dependent, and they took up so much space and time in your life, and maybe it was for years and years, decades. And you're not just losing the person or the relationship, you're losing the future you had planned with this person. And then all of a sudden, bam, you're replaced, you know? And so without any closure, you're just left to constantly think it's you, it's you, it's you, it's you, especially when you see them and they look happy now with somebody else. It's really hard to process
Yeah,
that. Very, very difficult. So
yeah,
yeah, good topic. Yeah, I have more I'd like to add too. So yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, let's talk about it. I you know, I talk about that with my beautiful clients about the fact that it, you know, another reason it's so hard to believe that that love bombing you're seeing ensue with the next victim. The reason it's so hard not to take that really badly and believe that, you know, maybe they're getting all the good side of 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 your partner, your ex-partner, and you only got all the bad, is because of the way that the narcissist ramps up the abuse towards the end, and it's just so overwhelming and consuming. And as we know, that ramping up of the abuse is because they're planning the discard. They're starting a smear campaign. They're getting ready to discard you. So the abuse has gone up, 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 up. You have reacted because you don't understand why they're escalating. They're starting to their behavior is off because they're mirroring the new target, and then you see them all happy, you know, and settled, and just so, you know, saying that they've never been happier in their life with this new soulmate. You've got to question yourself if as to whether, you know, maybe it is me, not because you bear any responsibility, but simply because of the conditioning, and especially the reinforcement of that notion that it's your fault when that abuse is escalating
That's
in
right.
the end.
Yeah, and those ups and downs in the relationship, it's hormonal. I've studied this a lot, and it's the dependency. We become dependent on this relationship for our hormones to rise and feel good about ourselves. And when this relationship ends, we no longer have that anymore, and our hormones can really just dump. And you know, a lot of people talk about the trauma bond and things like this. It's a real dependency. And when the relationship is over, we feel horrible, and we might feel this fight between ourselves where we don't like them anymore. We hate them. We realize we don't really love them, but there's this pull to them. And we know, our brains know, that if we go back, we might get that little rush again. And then we see them with somebody else as we feel horrible. And yeah, all kinds of emotions kick in, from jealousy and envious and rage, and we want revenge what they've done. And yeah, it's awful. It's awful. We have to learn to do that ourselves, and that's why I think always take time in between that relationship and a new one. Really, don't bring this stuff into a new relationship like they do. You know?
Yeah. So David, let's talk about uh, why we know, and I think everyone here tonight, knows on a logical level, but just mightn't be there, I guess, on an emotional level. Let's talk about why it will not be any different, and the next target will not get the good side of the narcissist. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Well, I think let's talk about personalities just in general. Um, the one word to describe personality disorders is rigid. Very, very rigid. These people tend to not bend, not change, not flex. You know, it's all in or break. So the patterns that all of you have seen in these relationships will continue. They don't break these patterns because they can't look at themselves. They don't self-reflect. They don't introspect. They carry an awful lot of shame. This is a disorder of just ultimate low self-esteem, no matter how they act, because they reject who they really are and how they really feel. And everything's an image. They project who they want to be, but they don't really believe it. Real tiny, fragile egos. So I think these response patterns they have all the time, they don't change. They don't change. Very, very rigid, and they will take this into the new relationships. It's all they know. It's all they know. To change anything about yourself, you've got to be able to look at yourself. You have to say, this is a problem I want to fix. And as all of you know, they don't do that. They don't accept themselves. They won't admit mistakes or failures or apologize. Those are clear signs that they aren't going to change, and these patterns will constantly resurface and recycle. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess that's the whole idea um, of what, you know, a personality um, and a personality disorder is all about. It's about consistency. It's about traits that are consistent over time. That's your personality. So when, when we hear people, thinking, well, maybe I can fix them, maybe they'll change if I just get them into counseling. We're not talking about a mental health issue here. We're not talking about something that you can get medicine for, you can go to therapy for and get fixed, because this is who they are. And by contrast to someone who's not disordered, you and I, someone, and everyone out there tonight, someone who has empathy, remorse, compassion, not that, sense of entitlement and grandiosity. By contrast, they are disordered, but this is their personality. So just like you and I can't change our ingrained traits of which make up who we are, nor can they. This is who they are. Nor do they want to. This is, and you made a really good point, which is, around awareness. You have to be aware that there is something wrong with you in order to change that, and to want to change it. The narcissist likes who they are. It's everyone else that has the problem. It's everyone around them who ends up in therapy.
That's right. Yeah. And we've all seen this. I mean, people that have been in these relationships, you guys have seen this. Hold a mirror up to them and see their reaction. Say, you did this wrong. This was wrong. You failed. You owe me an apology. And we get that word salad and the circular conversations that just keep going and going and going. Self-awareness is just that, knowing who you are and what you don't like about yourself, work on and change. We decide who we are, nobody else. And if you reject how you feel and what you want and what you need and things like this that the narcissist does, you can't look at yourself. You can't be aware. They don't want to be aware of themselves. That's exactly it. Most narcissists don't want to change. Don't want to change. Yeah.
Yeah. And if they say they do, there's no sincerity there, because, of course, to want to change, that requires sincere awareness, introspection, reflection on their behavior, which, of course, is impossible. But, one of the reasons that I'd like to put out there for why they will engage in, they will revert back to that horrible, nasty, evil person that you all saw after the love bombing period finished, was because that love bombing period, which you're looking at the moment, most probably on social media or, hearing about, that love bombing period is impossible to sustain. It takes so much work to act in a role that is not who you are. That takes a lot of work. So once they know that you're hooked, once they know that that new target is hooked, the mask will drop. It's inevitable. It's as sure as the sun will come up tomorrow that mask will drop, because they cannot sustain the love bombing.
That's right. And if you look at and really be able to identify the things that your ex or your family members, your friends who are narcissists, if you look and really identify what they like about you or what they love about you, you'll see that it's not your real true self. You'll see that they don't care. They don't want to hear how you feel, what you want. They'll never give you what you truly emotionally need. They aren't interested in who you are, just like they reject themselves. They care about what you are outside, what you do for them, how you make them feel, the status you may give them, money, whatever it is, a combination of these things. These are all external things, all of it. And you can look at something you think is beautiful long enough where it's just not quite so shiny anymore, not quite so pretty anymore. External stimulus like drugs and alcohol and gambling and sex, that's really what we are to them as victims. They don't appreciate you how you are, and so this love bombing will drop, it will stop. They will criticize you, things like this. And somebody who doesn't like themselves, who carries around shame and hates themselves, and this is always projected on how they treat people, and it can be very clear how someone feels about themselves with how they treat others, especially in the close intimate relationships. how they treated you is how they feel about themselves. And this is about people and themselves, and they can't love, and so they don't accept love. They won't love the next person. They're enamored and amused by the next person, the new shiny toy. But even diamonds have imperfections when you start looking closer. And that's what they do. They don't look at who you are, it's what you are. And nobody can sustain. Nobody.
Yeah, yeah. But even when you know this, uh, it still doesn't help to look. You know, I don't care, you know, how far along you are in your healing journey. I will tell you, don't look. No contact. You block, 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 block. And as they find new avenues to try and, you know, hoover you back, you block that too, because the narcissist planted, you know, these buttons in your head, these hypothetical buttons, and they know which buttons to push. So just don't put yourself in that position. Don't put yourself in that position where the narcissist can come along, no matter how strong you're feeling, and push on one of those buttons and use your empathy against you to have you believe something along the lines of they've changed. So yeah,
That's right.
no contact, guys.
Yeah, and here's something I think that's really important is, and I get this all the time, is after the relationship, they discard you. They act like they don't care at all. But they have lost you. No matter what they said about you, what they think about you, it's loss. And they will do things, and this really messes up the victim, the person that was discarded, is they'll be watching and they'll see things they do, and it might be pictures on Facebook or a friend tells them or something. And they're going to the same places you guys went to. They go to the same vacation spot, stay at the same place. They might even get married at the same place you guys had planned to get married, things like this. And it just throws them for a loop. How could they? That was supposed to be me. But this shows you they're not over you. This shows you that you are in that relationship still with them. And this is how they deal with loss and how they deal with depression instead of looking at themselves. They replace somebody like an object. It'll never
It's
work. Never work.
Yeah, we've got to reiterate though, when we say they're not over you, it's got nothing to do with missing them as a person and loving them, because we know they attach. They don't love like you and I would love. It's simply about looking back, and the loss is about control. It's about losing their property, which is you. They put a lot of time and work into you. So don't
And
ever think they miss who you are. They miss their control of you and the connection and the supply that you gave them.
Yeah, they miss what you are. Exactly. And
Yeah,
as being objectified like an object,
yeah,
I'm sorry, but objects are replaceable. There's
yeah,
always a new model microwave, dishwasher, the 2022 cars coming out, you know. But these
yeah.
things all break and break down and not work as well. And there's always a newer model coming. Always.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of models, David, this just sprung to mind. So I wanted your thoughts on it. This is something I get asked a lot about, is when the victim will mention something like, but you know, they're they've got nothing. They've got no money. They've got no education. This new target, you know. I work out in the gym, and I did so much for this person, and they're going for that person. Why do they think that person is better than me? And it's not said in a way where, you know, the victim is, you know, got tickets on themselves or anything like that. It's the fact that they gave of themselves so much to this person, and they're looking at the new target and going, why have you chosen them? Okay, tell us about why that new target was chosen.
Well, they begin to value you. Really, they placed a value on you, and that value drops and drops and drops. And in their mind, because they can't look at themselves, they won't take any accountability or responsibility. both, you know, that the relationship was awful, it was tumultuous, it was neglectful and abusive. So to leave that to another person, I mean, anybody's got to be better than that relationship, right?
Yeah,
And they're gonna blame everything on you. So you, in their mind, have become the worst person in the world. So
yeah,
anybody off the street is going to be better in their mind. And don't forget
yeah,
how codependent they are. I mean, these are just so dependent people that, you know, personality disorders means there's a lot you can't do for yourself. And there's a whole lot. And if you guys start really looking at this relationship and seeing all the things that they're incapable of doing for themselves, whether it's just soothing or comforting themselves and being able to communicate with you to get what they need instead of manipulating, they can't. They're dependent on people. So, you know, monkey branching, right? Like Tarzan, one to the other. Often these relationships began before yours even ended. You may never
yeah,
know that.
yeah.
Yeah, but these aren't,
Often, I can say most of the time, yeah.
yeah.
Um, yeah, so
And they're
the
looking
new
for that.
target is, yeah,
Go ahead.
don't ever look at what the new target is. I guess that's what we're saying, uh, because they're just new. That's it. They're just not you.
No,
And anyone, as David said, is going to be in the narcissist delusional mind, is going to be better because in their mind, you are just garbage. They've abused you so much that you are just a crumpled heap, and you are just worthless. And of course, it's your fault. So anyone is going to be better, and they are going to find someone to use. That new target, whether they've got money, looks, or whatever they've got, they are giving the narcissist something. And for the most part, they are reflecting back to the narcissist that the narcissist is amazing. And they give the narcissist a new toy to play with and to start to devalue.
that's right. Yeah, typically narcissists, you got a couple different kinds, and they typically will either play that pity party, poor me, you won't believe what happened, right? Or they're going to project the image of everything's perfect, I'm perfect, everything's fine all the time. And I say to people a lot, you know, go on Facebook and tell me who looks sad, who looks bad, who's listing how bad their lives are on Facebook. It's impossible to tell, and anybody can project an image like that if they want to. Yeah,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
might do it purposefully for you.
Yeah, I think they definitely do that. They will know that you're frantic, that you're going to be frantic with the lack of closure, and you're hearing on the grapevine that they've got someone else. They know that you'll be looking. So, that propaganda, if you will, is placed out there. Here am I with my arm around this person, with the caption, my new soulmate, never been happier, never felt this way in my lifetime. And what does this do to you when you've been treated just so badly? It kills you. It rips your heart out.
It sure does. And nobody can make good choices for themselves if they don't have self-awareness, if they don't know who they are. If you don't know, if you're not very aware of your emotions, which are called feelings, if you don't know what you want and need and value, which a narcissist doesn't know themselves, they can't make good choices. And I've seen, couples that were engaged for years, right? Never got married, they got discarded, and now they go marry somebody within 6 months. They're not making choices, good ones for themselves, according to who they are, right? They're patching up loss, and they're patching up their egos and stuff like this. And they'll get into these marriages right away before they even know who the person is. And they don't care. And before the
They don't
victim
care.
knows who they are, right?
Yeah,
They leave
yeah.
these relationships still, no matter what. They leave with more shame and more guilt, and they go patch it up and try and have somebody else make them feel better. And they'll they got this image that they're projecting, and they'll keep uh, uh, you know giving themselves more and more of a positive image as they can. So, oh, this relationship was bad, I'm going to prove to myself I can still have a good relationship, and get married right away. And those marriages are going to fail miserably.
Yeah, and of course that notion that every narcissist likes to project which is, look at me, I'm okay, I'm happy, I'm in a new relationship, everything is going hunky dory, and look at you. you're crazy. You know, you're going to a counselor, you're on all the, you know, this antidepressants and things like that. And I'm just here doing what I do, and I'm happy. So this behavior even supports the notion to the victim that it must be them, because I'm here and you know, as a victim, and I'm just absolutely you know, I've had my life destroyed and I just can't cope anymore. And I'm watching the narcissist, and they're going to the movies, going on happy holidays, and they're just not affected by it at all. So it supports the notion to the victim that the problem is with me. So, but if you think about it, and this is what I want you to think about, guys, who does that? What person is in a you know, a true healthy relationship based on mutual respect and you know, unconditional love, and then just drops you, and then the next day is madly in love with someone else, and never sheds a tear? Normal people don't do that. You know, that's an indication of how disordered they are. Normal people like you and David and I, we need to process. We, you know, we might go and drown our sorrows and sit at home and cry our eyes out and be sad.
And
That's
that's
what normal people do. They need to process this. But a narcissist is off straight away with someone else.
yeah, that's the healthy reaction, to express your emotions and accept them and make yourself feel better. Um, they won't do that. They just won't do that. Imagine, I mean, I think everybody has at one time or another in their life when they feel bad, down, crying, sad. Maybe they go to work and they don't want anyone to know, right? So they put on that happy face. I'm doing good, and they feel like crap inside, right? Um, I think everyone's kind of done that before, because maybe not to our family or friends, close loved ones, but people we don't want to know how bad we're hurting. And that's exactly how they live their life all the time, all the time. No one can know. Reject my feelings, and they'll do that with everybody. And they let other people form who they are. They value people's opinions, and that tells them who they are. So if they can convince you of somebody, of who they are, then that's good enough for them.
Yeah.
Real empty, real shallow.
Yeah. So yeah, guys, I guess just to conclude, no, they will not treat the next person any better. They will treat them the same way that they treated you. Because simply because they're not capable of engaging in any other cycle. They have to love bomb to hook the target in. Okay, and you all know that's over the top. It's not normal when you look back on it and reflect. They need to love bomb to hook you in, and that is not sustainable. It is not sustainable long term. And you know, after a couple of months, if that, you will see the cracks of the true self coming through. So what do when you start to question their behavior because they're no longer worshiping you? Well, in their eyes, that's it. It's black and white. You're now evil. You're to be punished. So the devaluing starts, and of course the discard. Even if they stay in a marriage with you for 30 years, this love bomb, devalue, discard cycle will continue and continue. Nothing else is possible. It's just what they do. So yeah, they will not change. It doesn't mean though, it won't hurt to see that love bombing stage. So just don't put yourselves through it.
That's right. Yeah. And be careful. I mean, learn as much as you can from this, and don't be so vulnerable right away with people and tell them everything about yourself. You know, a narcissist won't do that. They will lie, they will say me too, they will tell you whatever you want to hear, and they'll be whoever you want them to be. And it's easy when you don't have a real self. It's easy to do that. Really, really
Yeah.
easy. But we take so long to get to know people. And when you hear them jump right into a new relationship and get married or get committed, live together, there's big, big problems. And they don't know who each other are yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, David. Well, we might start answering some questions. Okay, who have we got here today? Um, um, so many. We've got Judy Grace Breton is there, and Judy says, this live is making me very anxious too, but mainly the memories and also pity for the new girlfriend, which is my friend. Yeah, I guess these live streams would be very triggering, Judy. So please get lots and lots of support, because we're talking about things that have been traumatic for you. You know, you guys were traumatized. This happened without your permission. So yeah, if you are being triggered by the live stream, then please get some support and reach out, join a support group online.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you find someone to talk to and talk to a lot about this that you can trust. That'll help you. That's the number one way to heal from this. When you're ready. When you're ready.
Lots of comments here tonight, David. We've got Silvana who says, love isn't control, money, or sex. It's being happy around that person and genuinely happy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, relationships are meant to add comfort to our lives. The most important thing in our lives. We don't have any relationships that's stressful. And if we're being traumatized, neglected, abused, very stressful. And I think that's really something important to remember, and a goal for relationships. Have them be comfortable, at least happy. Yeah.
Yeah. We've got Kathleen Orasco is there. Hi, Kathleen. Kathleen must be replying to someone. She says, I agree, it's the best sex, but that's because I feel loved during that time, SMH. Yeah. And yeah, we hear that all the time, don't we? That the sex is incredible, and that's another thing that victims worry about, is that, you know, the fact that they'll be giving all of that to the next person and making that person feel the same way, and that's horrific when you have that such a powerful connection to the narcissist, which of course is the trauma bond. But what is sex to a narcissist, David? It's a tool. It's a weapon. And you guys will know that once that relationship, you know, was solidified, that it wouldn't just be a weapon to throw at you. It would be a weapon where they would disengage and withdraw that from you after giving you and wanting you so much. They use it as a weapon to either give to you or withdraw it.
That's right. Yeah. And you know, I try to really look into the difference between physical connection and emotional connection. And sex without emotional connection is just sex. And it can be like any other addiction. It really plays into the dependency part of the relationship. And also, really important to know who you are and what you value in life. And it's okay to value sex, but where is it on your list of values? Because theirs, it might be at the top and yours might be down here, because I hope a lot of you value morals, relationships with people, connection, stuff like this, where they don't, right? And so
Yeah.
sex is very important to them, maybe more important than anything else that you value. And
Yeah.
it's really important to
It's
know that. Yeah, I don't think relationships will ever work. My first criteria for any relationship to work is that your values match. If you value honesty and integrity and respect and loyalty, things like this, your friends, your family, your partner must too. They must. And if they don't, it'll never ever work. And this isn't something we help people do or help them along or change them or wait or go to counseling. We accept people for who they are, big time. But we don't have to accept their behaviors or have them in our life. I think that's just
yeah.
really important.
Yeah. And don't forget that during the love bombing stage, especially, most of them will use use sex as a tool to hook you in, to seduce you. It feels good to have someone who wants to, you know, touch you, connect with you, make you feel amazing, tell you that you're beautiful. This feels good. And what does it do? It raises all those happy hormones, those happy chemicals. And then, of course, that tool is used as a weapon once we've become addicted, hooked on that happy, wonderful feeling. It's used to that they can withdraw it to punish us, you know, if we're doing something that doesn't please them. And it can also be used to devalue you. As you know, the narcissist will use sex as something that you now, that is an obligation to you, and a lot of time get you to do things you don't want, and just lower your boundaries until, you know, you're doing things you don't want, engaging in it when you don't want. It is simply a weapon to control.
That's right. And I think another thing that's really important is to understand that we need and thrive on emotional connection. And without that, without a foundation of a relationship, sex is just sex. And after time, it wears down. It's not so great anymore. I hear story after story of how great the sex was in the beginning, in the middle, not so much in the end. May not be having it anymore. They have to increase that stimuli, so they start getting, you know, funky and want weird things and pornography and other people, and might start cheating on you because they don't value who you are. There's no emotional connection there. It's just
Yeah.
like I said before, any bright, shiny object really starts to dull after a while. And
Yeah.
sex will do it, yeah, big time.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I call it M&M, mutual masturbation after a while. It's just two of you having sex together and really not much else after a
There's
while.
yeah. The thing is, from the beginning, there's it might feel differently in that love bombing stage, but that is a tool that they use, and there is no more emotional connection at that time when it
Yep,
feels amazing than there is in the end when you really do feel like you're just being used. The
that's right.
emotional connection is no different.
And you raised a good point. The devaluing will also play in the bedroom. Um, Sex alone just won't last, and they'll start devaluing you and blaming you. This is your fault. You're not turning me on as much. You're not allowing me to have as much sex as I want. It's just not fun or enjoyable anymore. You don't do it for me. You're not the way you were in the beginning. They'll accuse you of being like that because it's
Yeah.
not escalating. Just like drugs and alcohol, you get immune
More
to.
and more and more
Mhm.
stimuli. Yeah.
That's right.
And of
Yeah.
course, what does the victim do? The victim um, blames themselves, and the narcissist has set it up this way. So what do? We try harder. We go and buy lingerie, you know, if we're a woman, or we, you know, we make their favorite dinner. We organize the weekends away. We try and, you know, fix ourselves.
Yeah.
When the fact is that you've been set up from the beginning to simply try harder. As every narcissist does, they shift the goalpost, because it's never about you doing anything. It's about you continuing to try to please them. That's where they get their ego boost.
That's right. And there are plenty of marriage counselors, sex therapists, things like this that will solidify this. You know, you got to be more romantic, you have to be more sexy, give them what they want. You know, it's the same thing as the therapist telling you, hey, go tell them you're sorry and do whatever they want instead of.
Write them a letter. Write them a letter, David, and pour your heart out to them, and let them know that telling you that you're a disgusting, every name under the sun every night. Let them tell them that this person that this hurts you.
Yeah,
And I still, I still question anyone, you know, any professional that would tell someone to write their abuser a letter to inform them that these despicable acts hurt them. I mean, these are the basics that you don't do in a relationship. You don't call your loved one, if you're saying you love them, disgusting names, and you don't treat them like you hate them.
right. No,
Yeah,
it would.
a therapist can't teach you not to do that. If you don't know that, you're in big trouble.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
it's just too bad. Like I said, it will solidify all their doubts and their own guilt and shame. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Let me open this one up. Okay, we've got Liana Remo is there. Hi, Liana. Liana says, 2 years after I kicked him out, we've had kids together. He still has a huge effect on me. I'm anxious anytime I have to go communicate with him, even when he pretends to be decent and civil. That makes me even more anxious because I'm suspicious of his motives. Yeah, and rightly so. And you know the true self, Liana. You know who he really is. So of course, if you're seeing this uncharacteristic behavior, you're going to be suspicious. That doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. That means that your instincts are talking to you and you're believing them. And that's based on your history with your abuser.
Yeah, I'm really sorry that this person still is in your life. Try to do everything you can to eliminate that. I don't know if you already know this, but just some suggestions. Come up with a plan. Let lawyers handle this. Stick to that plan. Communicate if you can just by email. Uh, find a way to drop the kids off at one place at school in the morning, have them pick them up in the afternoon. Try to limit all contact as much as you can and keep talking to somebody and heal as much as you can from this. I hope and hopefully uh, this kind of pain will subside and stop. But it's awfully hard when you still are communicating with them. That's a tough one, and I feel for you. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Awful.
there's this. Yeah, try and go gray, what we call gray rock, minimal contact. Take everything down to an email. You do not have to see your abuser because you have children with them. If this person had broken every bone in your body, you would not be calling them on the phone to discuss, the best interests of your child. Get someone else to do it if you possibly can. Email only. Block them on your phone for emergencies. Give them your mother's number or someone else's number. But yeah, remember I spoke earlier about the buttons. The hypothetical buttons they put in your head. It, of course, you're going to be triggered when you talk to them. Just remember, they're never going to have the best interests of the child at as their main goal. So it's pointless trying to discuss with them. It's just futile. So these are why you need strict guidelines in place, as in orders and things like that.
And don't forget, just like they are the same person with the next person, these patterns always reoccur. They objectify people, and they'll objectify their own children. They will use them as pawns to abuse you through them. So I highly recommend counseling. Speak with your lawyer, courts, and do what you can to limit this contact and heal. Okay? Yeah. Easy for me to
Yeah,
say. Very hard to do, I
yeah.
bet.
I would hate to think that anyone was thinking that we were saying this is easy. This is going to be the hardest thing that you've ever done. And we're not saying that to sabotage you. We're saying that, I guess, to be your reality check, that you have to commit to working out these strategies around how you're going to deal with this person for the next 18 years or so. And if you can come to terms with the fact that you cannot co-parent with them, it's impossible. That then and learning to parallel parent, then you can, I guess, work out how you're going to manage that.
That's right. I was just going to say that. So really important to know that you're not going to co-parent with an abuser. So it won't help you to talk very much about the children and how they feel and what they're doing. They don't care. They'll lie. They use children as an extension of themselves. So they'll project that image with their children. Their children are great, or maybe their children are bad, the part that they don't like about themselves. You won't get straight answers, and they just don't care. So you can't co-parent with an abuser. You just can't. Mhm.
Okay. We've got Charlena Lamfritibeam. Sorry, Charlena, I haven't pronounced that correctly. Bolden. I think I've done that one right. Charlena says, why is it so hard to get over the narcissist, especially if you have a baby with them? Yeah. I think it's hard to get over a narcissist because of the strategies that they set up, whether you have a baby with them or not, Charlene. And I'm not trying to minimize the fact that you have a baby with them. But I guess if we think about it, look at the loss. Look at your loss. Look at all the hopes and dreams that you have wrapped up in this relationship when you have a baby with them. That, you know, when the narcissist discards you or you manage to break away from the abuse, there goes your dreams of having a family, a mum and dad under the same roof for your child. There's lots of loss and grief there. You know, wanting to do the right thing by your child, thinking, well, you know, maybe I should promote the relationship between their, that my baby and their father. You know, it's, you know, so you stay in contact and try and communicate and co-parent with that person. So you fail to go no contact, which keeps the, you know, all of that crazy making going on where they can manipulate you. I think, you know, a baby, having a baby with them is a connection, and that this is why the narcissist has children. They have that so that they have that invisible string to you to be able to manipulate you and use that child to
and control you.
manipulate
Control you. Yeah. I mean, we don't get over this. This is trauma recovery, and we go through it, and it's a process, and there's a whole lot going on from the dependency and the hormones. This causes shame, guilt, depression, anxiety, and these are things that we need to go through, not get over. Really important.
Yeah. So, Charlena, no contact, minimal contact, grey rock for if you have, obviously you have a baby with him. You know, get lots and lots of support to help you do that. But just, I guess, get rid of that notion that you can co-parent with this person. The more days you can string together of no contact where you're actively engaging in your self-care, the stronger you will become to, I guess, work through that grief and loss, and I guess address that trauma bonding. Yeah.
That's right. And don't forget, you're the mom or the dad, and you decide what's best for your child. And I often have clients that try so hard to keep their child, the other person, whether it's your child's father or child's mother, they try to keep that person in their child's life, and they understand the benefits and the how necessary it is to have a father or a mother. And so they'll try so hard to keep the parent in their child's life. And if this is a narcissist, a toxic, abusive, exploitative narcissist, are you sure that you want that person in your child's life? Because if they are, it's not going to benefit the child just to have that parental figure that neglects them, that abuses them, and really start to understand what emotional neglect and how traumatic it is and how abusive it is, that a child is not in a good place with that. So I often see the other parent not want to be the parent that doesn't really care and doesn't cooperate and doesn't pick up their child.
I do too.
Don't make it easy for them. Make it hard for them, her or her.
It is
Make it hard for them.
not
Make them
your
work
job.
for it. Yeah, make them be the committed one that wants it so bad and works so hard. Don't make it easy for them. Really decide that decision on your own for yourself and for your child. But really look at all this and try to understand that if this person is toxic and abusive and neglects you, they're going to do it to their children. This isn't something that they pick and choose. That would assume that they cannot be a narcissist whenever they want. Just because they have a baby, that changed their whole life. It takes a lot more than that if they can ever change and not be abusive anymore. So really think about what you're doing and what really is best for the child.
Yeah, it is not your, and I hear that a lot too, David, where, you know, that the narcissist isn't actually trying to engage, and the victim, you know, thinks they're doing the right thing by pushing this contact. They're doing the right thing for their child, where, you know, everything you just said, I guess, comes in to play, because if you have to push this contact, push that parent to be with their child, is that contact going to be good for your child if the other parent is being forced to be there?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
And
Yeah.
physical
And
needs, yeah, physical needs mean nothing to emotional needs at all. Physical needs is living without love, things like this. It's not life. It's not living. So a narcissistic father or mother could be, very on the surface, look amazing, paying the bills and taking care of all their clothes and, paying for the best schools. They don't need that. They need
yeah,
love and attention and connection and security. This is what they need. If they're not going to get it from their father, they're going to be traumatized, I promise.
or their
Or their mother.
mother. Yeah. Yeah, and I guess one thing I really, if you're in that situation, I really want you to reflect on, and this certainly comes with absolutely no judgment, but just to look really, really deep inside and reflect on your motivation. Because what I have found when people have really dug deep is that there's still a little bit there where it's not just that they want to promote the contact with their child, it's a connection for them because they're still trying to work through that trauma bonding, and this keeps that narcissist close, and they I guess they don't have to deal with the withdrawal symptoms so much from the narcissist and that traumatic trauma bonding. So yeah, that's something I want you to really reflect on. Is it 100% just for the child that you would trying to promote this contact, or is there part of you that thinks this is going to keep that person in my life, and a little bit is better than nothing?
That's right. And as we mature and become a more emotionally intelligent, loss isn't as hard. It gets easier. We handle it in a mature, responsible way, and it doesn't have to hurt so much. These kinds of relationships are awful, awful, and grieving can be a humongous process that could take years for some people. Either they're in denial and shock, anger, and having these people around and seeing them just makes that incredibly more difficult. And you're right. You might still just be in denial or shock, anger, and you keep seeing this person. It's extremely difficult to grieve the loss of them with them still in
Yeah,
your life. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Okay, we've got a comment here by Michael Richard. Hi, Michael. Michael says, be fair though, when somebody is so cruel all the time to you, it's hard not to call them names. It's all you have. Yeah. And we have a name for that, Michael, and it's called reactive abuse. When we hit that point where we're so frustrated, we retaliate, don't we, David?
That's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's really important, all of you, to know something that anybody that's done anything to you, it's not your fault. It's their fault. It is. And the things that if you abuse them back, that is your fault. And it just adds to more shame and more guilt. And it's just really important, I think, in those situations to be able to identify that maybe you weren't taught in childhood the best way on how to navigate through these relationships to end them, things like this. And I think I think victims have been kind of conditioned to take this kind of stuff, to accept neglect and things, so that this relationship goes too far. But it is not your fault. Only what you do. Anything they've done is not their fault. And when we reactionary abuse people, it just increases that shame and guilt. And so try not to take on too much. It is just so common for victims to take it all on themselves, to really absorb it all and believe that it's all them. And it's just not. And this is why talking is so important. So important to
Yeah.
learn these things and heal from it that way. Yeah.
Yeah. And don't forget that when you do, start perhaps calling them names, or, I don't know, throwing a plate or just doing something that's so out of character for you, you're actually acting on cue. You are giving them the elicited response that they desired. They provoked you and provoked you and provoked you. And we're not talking about what a true domestic abuser, sorry, where was I going with that? We're not talking about when a true domestic abuser provides the excuse, well, she provoked or he provoked me, that's why, you know, I hit them or I did this. We're not talking about that. We're talking about reactive abuse, which is the intended elicited response to their provoking you. They wanted you to start calling them names. They wanted you to start throwing things around and engage in a behavior that was so far removed from your true character, so that they could go, see, you're nuts. You know, there's a very professional diagnosis for you. You're crazy. That's what they wanted, and they got it. And of course, a true victim where the behavior is out of character, and a true victim who has the capacity for remorse looks at that like you did and goes, you know what, I don't like that about myself. I sat there and started screaming names back at them like they do to me, and you know, I'm not proud of that at all. That's remorse. That's what makes you different from the true abuser.
Yep. Great point. I mean, they shame you for how you feel. The most two common things I hear is the one, they're crazy, right? They will push your buttons and not give you a thing and gaslight you, threaten you, and all these kinds of emotional blackmail, things like this. And the second you react, you're crazy. You're crazy. Another common one, most common, second most common is you're angry. You're angry. I can't figure out why you're so angry. You're just an angry person. And you
All you
try to
want to do
tell
is
them why you're
argue.
angry. Yeah, you try to
Yeah.
tell them, I'll tell you why I'm angry. And
Yeah.
because you did this, and then it's all over, right? They block that. I just can't figure out why you're so angry all the time. And how
And
many of you
there
guys
is,
have ever experienced this? Because I've heard this a lot. And they will push your buttons and push your buttons and push your buttons until you freak out, till you lose it, scream, whatever. And there's the video camera right there recording you and your behaviors. Look, this is you. This is who you are. This is what you do. I had nothing to do with it.
yeah, yeah. But
I've heard that.
that's editing, isn't it? That's editing at its best. Promote this behavior to get the response you want, and then blame you for it. Yeah, and I really want to reiterate that reactive abuse, within, and it's a term we use in narcissistic abuse recovery, is completely different from the concept that true abusers use or say, the phrase, well, you made me do it. You made me hit you. You made me do those terrible things to you. You know, that's just a classic line, isn't it, from a true abuser? If you hadn't have been giving me lip, then, you know, I wouldn't have punched you. You made me do it. This is very, very different. It's the narcissistic behavior is designed to get you to react. And of course, if we don't know that we're being sabotaged, we're being set up, then we do what we're supposed to do, which is get frustrated with someone who is engaging in word salad and who is blame shifting and projecting and gaslighting us.
That's right. And know that these are emotional problems in your relationship with them, meaning it feels bad. And this is the problem that must be fixed with the two of you working together to do this. So the blaming, the it's all your fault, the name calling, they're not working together with you to resolve anything. No resolution ever.
We've got David, we've got Martin O'Dog there. It's great to see some guys here today. It's wonderful. Martin says, if kids are involved, stick to email only or small book with anything that's needed to be said or asked, then sign and date it so courts can see and use it. Yeah, great advice, David.
Yeah, you know, I think a lot of these things must be documented, right? Especially if you're sharing children, things like this. document these things. We timestamp it, and we always, really important, is talk about how it felt. That's the most important in courtrooms, whether it's legal or civil matters. How did you feel? What did it do to you? Because some things, may bother one person, not the other, right? So it's important what this does to you. And yeah, document, very, very important,
But
especially in divorce matters.
personally, yeah, personally, I think email is, or maybe one of those parenting apps. You just need something that creates a paper trail, and you just document uh, everything. But obviously, if you're sending texts back and forth, keep them without emotion, just facts. If you can respond to a question, I guess this is if you're dealing with parenting issues, if you can respond with one word, yes or no, then you do that, but you give them nothing that they can take out of context.
Yeah, if
And
this
of
deals with
course,
children, if this is about children, we keep it strictly about the children, strictly,
yeah,
nothing about you. Yeah.
yeah. And what don't we do with the narcissist? Which, of course, when you stop engaging, uh, especially if you've got kids together, we don't jade, and they will try to get you to do that. Jade being that acronym we use: justify, argue, defend, and explain. Something that we all do until we know that we're rewarding them and it's what they want from us. So when you start cutting out all emotions from your communication and just answering with one word, yes, no, if you can, of course, a narcissist at first, and maybe for a while, is going to go, why? You can't do that. You need to tell me why. And we've been conditioned to feel terrible if we don't explain why we're giving them this answer, or why we don't want to do what they want us to do. You don't have to do that anymore. You never did, but you were in that fog where you were experiencing the fear and the obligation and guilt. You're not in that anymore. You do not have to explain yourself.
Yep, a controlling manipulator. Once they can't control you anymore, very typical, they'll try to control the people around you. And this is typically when a smear campaign starts. This might be a time that the narcissist in your life never even met your family, never even met your parents before. And now that they can't control you anymore, what are they doing? They're calling your family, they're contacting them, calling your
Yeah.
parents. Yep, trying to control the people around you. And they will definitely do that with children. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's uh, the smear campaign, isn't it, David? They can't get to you anymore, so they start on everyone around you. And I guess you've just got to be mindful of that. Be aware that perhaps those other people, your friends, family, they haven't seen behind the mask. So when they come to you, using the words of the narcissist, telling you that they're such a nice person, you know better, and just don't engage. Just say you don't want to talk about it.
That's right. And if we have these kinds of relationships in our adult life, we might have toxic family. We might have toxic friends, like the first person that asked a question, or second, they were talking about how their ex is now with their best friend. Uh, Not that great of a friend, right? And so these people that will go and try to contact other people, get people on their side, it may work. You may not have the best people in your life if we're having relationships with narcissists. And it's just a sad, sad thing. It is, getting your family and friends to turn against you.
Absolutely. I'm just looking for some more questions here, David. Um, okay. We Okay, so we've got Michael Richard there, and Michael says, my dad, oh, I just lost yours. Michael, where did it go? Oh, I'll have to come back to it, Michael. Sorry about that. We've got Liana Remo there says, narcissists only counter-parent, no co-parenting. Yeah, that's absolutely true, isn't it, David? They, they're not all of a sudden going to become this person who you can have a reasonable discussion with. now that you're separated, it's going to be even worse.
Well,
So you,
they can't parent themselves. They can't. They can't parent that. They'll parentify you. They'll parentify other people, put you in charge. You take care of me. You do this, you do that, all these things. They're not going to parent their children. They don't know how.
they
These are underdeveloped children, emotional children, underdeveloped, never developed and to fully functioning adults. So
yeah,
they're not going to be able to parent children.
no. And the children are simply a connection to you. They are a great way to keep you as a source of narcissistic supply. Uh, you know, while you're not even together and they've got someone else, they can use those children, and they will, and they do. Uh, Talking of counter parenting, you're not going to be able to go to the narcissist and have a reasonable discussion about what's in the best interests of the children. Hey, let's do this. You know, the children all need these new shoes or whatever it is. You know, let's go halves in it and do this and that. The narcissist is going to, you know, throw something back at you. If they respond immediately, you know, they'll probably leave you hanging for a week or so. They're going to respond with, I think the kids' shoes are fine. You go and buy new ones if you want to, or you shouldn't have spent that last child support check on yourself getting a facial, or, you know, whatever they say to you. But they are just going to throw it back in your face and get you more frazzled, and your reactions, your frustrations, that feeds them. So you cut it off and you learn to parallel parent. Don't ask them for anything.
Yeah, and I like to add this all the time in these situations that you know, children are young, and they might have fun with toys and going out to fun amusement parks and things like this. Yes, they're going to have fun, and the abusive narcissist may try to win the children over, right? It's all a part of you're the bad one, I'm the good one, and that's how they deal with this. So they may use the children to do that. But what is very important is that you remain the parent. Let them be the sibling, the child, because that's not what children need. They need you, and they need you to be healthy and stable. They need structure, and they need their emotional needs met. That's not going to happen over there with a narcissist. So very important
Yeah,
to remain and try to be healthy and give the children what they need. Don't talk bad about their parent. Let them do that. Children don't like that. They just, the worst thing you could ever tell a child is something bad about their parents, right? They don't understand that, and they won't
yeah,
listen to it, and it'll just push them away. So let them do that. Let them have fun over there. Let them get all the presents and gifts and stuff like this that they could want, and eventually they will get sick of it. It won't be enough. They may not totally understand that, but they need you, not them.
yeah. I think it's important to remember that the reason you want to do this is because of who you are, because, you know, you as a parent know what's right. And if we were dealing with someone who wasn't disordered, we'd be going, yes, you need to be amicable with your ex. Sit down and try and work things out. Your children need to see you as a united front. That's what's best for your children, to see, uh, you know, to make the best out of this and to make this transition as easy as possible. But we're not dealing with someone who's not disordered. We're dealing with someone who's narcissistic. So you've got to, I guess, come to terms with the fact that it's going to go against every moral kind of fiber in your body, your integrity, to not reach out and try and sit down with the other parent because you want to do what's right. But you have to, I guess, put those narcissist goggles on and realize that reaching out to do the right thing is only going to end up with you being so completely and utterly frustrated, and it's futile, and it rewards the narcissist. You know, there's that saying, um, what is it, that Bernard Shaw saying that if you lie down and wrestle with a pig, the pig loves it, but you get covered in mud. And this is, I guess, why we say don't engage, no contact, stay away from them, is because they will only ever want to get you dirty and covered in mud. They will not have a discussion with you. They couldn't before, and they're certainly not going to now.
That's right. Yeah, and if we're in these relationships with them, we lose ourselves. We lose who we are. We can't keep our values and feel good and get what we want and need. So we've compromised and sacrificed and numbed ourselves. And so it's really important to remain true to who you are and be an example for your children, you know? Should teach
Yeah.
them what's valuable in their life and what they need. Give it to them. Yeah, all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we've got Evelyn O'Lenane is there. Hi, Evelyn. And Evelyn says, family court enforce contact, shared parenting, and the friendly parent provision is made into law. Yeah, we all know that the family law court system is flawed, and there's just not enough awareness around these personality disorders. And unfortunately, yeah, the truly disordered parent is often rewarded for their abuse. Because they've worn down the other parent so much that the other parent is punished for having to seek treatment for their abuse. They're punished for being frazzled and in need of support because they were abused. And of course, the true abuser sits there calm and cool, and the victim is in therapy. And they're punished for this. And yeah, as I said, the abuser is rewarded with more contact with their children. There's just not enough awareness in the family court, and it really needs to be addressed. Even, couples where there's a narcissistic parent are being told to go to counseling together. I mean, like literally sit in the same room with their abuser and sort this out.
That's
You
right.
know,
Same over here in the States. We have 50 states, and I have heard in so many of them, and I know they're all the same, if not worse, that the number one thing in this family court is that they have a mom and dad. That's it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how bad they are, if they're drug addicts, if they beat the kids, attack mom, and I've heard this over and over again, that they have restraining orders on them, they break the restraining orders, they've been caught abusing the children, but they have to have a dad and mom, they have to stay in their life, and that's not true. That's not true. It doesn't matter who raises the children. The children need caretakers. They don't have to have mom and dad. They need
yeah,
caretakers, and they have to be healthy, and they have to give them what they need. And I've just heard this
yeah,
so much,
yeah,
so often, and it's so
yeah,
sad that the courts keep reuniting these toxic, unhealthy parents with their children and give them rights and visitations. And there
yeah.
are just cases where it's not the best thing for the children, period.
Yeah,
And the courts don't listen. They don't care.
absolutely.
Hmm.
And what ends up happening, besides the children getting awarded to an abusive parent, is that the victim, the victimized parent, becomes re-victimized because they're told to sit in a room with their abuser and sort out these communication issues, these relationship issues. Sort it out for the best interest of your child. Be a bigger person, uh, which says to the victim, which reinforces everything their abuser ever told them, which is, this is your fault. You need to fix yourself, and then this wouldn't have happened to you. Where these are not relationship issues, these are issues of abuse. And telling a victim to sit in a room and have counseling with their abuser is ludicrous.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just awful. It really is. Yeah, I just stand by that. It doesn't matter who raises children as long as they give them what they need. They don't have to have that their biological father, their biological mother. That's not necessary. It isn't, and it's just too much importance put on that in courtrooms here in the States. And it's an awful, awful thing. Um, but the best parent, honestly, the best parent is the one that makes mistakes, that apologizes and learns from them and is healthy. That is the best parent, okay? Not perfect, not a good person, not buys everything for the child, and it's just healthy. Be a healthy mom, be a healthy dad. And that's the best example and the best parent you can be. It really is. And we don't have to overcompensate either, because they don't have a father figure or a mother figure, or at least one that's healthy. We don't have to overcompensate. If you're a mother or you're a father, you just play that role and learn what that is. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, great advice. Okay, who have we got there? Oh, we lost you. Oh goodness. We've got Whitney Mixon is there. Hi, Whitney. Whitney says, I've heard that so much. I don't understand your anger. Ah, just floated away. Where did that go? Okay, Facebook just took that away, Whitney. My apologies. But yeah, we'll talk to that anyway. That little bit I could read, which was what we were talking about earlier, David, when they say that they provoke you into becoming becoming angry, and then of course remain that cool, calm person, and say to you, I don't understand your anger, and this enrages you more because you're trying to explain to them something they already know. So you're trying to explain to them why you are angry, and it's infuriating.
Yeah, and one of the most important ingredients is emotional connection. And that means that the two of you conversate and it goes really well and you understand each other really well and listen. And if that's not happening, it won't do any good to try to prove a point. It won't. And remember, the problems are emotional. It's here. This must be fixed, and it's not fixed until you feel a little better. And it takes both of you guys. So if you're in a relationship where somebody's not cooperating, who's not communicating and not being vulnerable and not working just as hard as you, it will never, ever work. Ever. Ever.
Yeah. Okay, we're just about come to the end, David, so we might just
That,
talk to one more
that goes fast.
comment here before we go.
That's
Who
quick.
haven't
That goes so
I?
fast.
Yeah, I know. We've got Yvette Power here. Hi, Yvette. Yvette says, how does a narc look after their kids if they have no empathy for anyone? Yeah, well, that's a great question. And that I guess they don't look after them in a way that's healthy.
No.
Do
Uh,
they,
uh, uh,
David?
yeah, your true authentic self is at least involves how you feel, what you want, what you need, and what you value in your opinion. And they don't see that, they don't value that, they don't care. And this isn't just you. They have objectified you, and they'll objectify their children. And children are
Yeah,
too small to handle this. They don't understand it, and they start learning what love is by you and by the other parent. And the attention they receive from that narcissist, they'll begin learning that that's what love is. That love is clothes, cookies, toys,
yeah,
rides, things like
yeah.
this. Yeah.
It's also conditional. If I
Hmm.
do what they want, then they'll love me. And this teaches children to be hyper vigilant to the parents' moods,
Yeah.
to try and please them all the time, even though the goalposts are shifted all the time. They're taught that love is conditional. They're taught very, very unhealthy coping mechanisms, which keeps them safe mentally,
Mm.
I guess, sane at the time of the trauma, but it's very, very hard to deal with when they're older.
They're going to learn that they are not enough. They're just not enough. They're not equal. They're going to learn that what they want isn't enough. They must do more. What they need isn't enough. I got to do more. I got to give them what my dad or my mom wants and be good for them. And being good means not expressing how I feel. It means if daddy or mommy's happy, whoever the narcissist is, then I must be happy. And I don't want to bring
Yeah,
them down. And if I'm happy and they're not in a good mood, they're more important than me. Their feelings are more important than mine. Never
Yeah.
really being able to express themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if I express a need, which might just be empathy, if I express a need, then that's selfish. So
Yeah.
how does this set us up for adult relationships? It sets us up for abuse, and it sets us up for feeling comfortable in toxic relationships because it's familiar.
That's right. Yeah. Never believing that how you feel is just enough. I feel bad. That hurts. Not enough. You got to do more. Got to do better. You can't say nothing. We learn what relationships are in childhood, and we tend to repeat them until we heal. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
So,
Well, I think
so,
that's a
so
really good.
well, I was
Sorry,
just gonna say
David?
that. Yeah, I was just gonna say that. I know all of you out there that are parents. You want to be the best parent you can. And like I said before, we don't have to overcompensate for what they won't get over there with the other parent. And so
Yeah.
always keep learning what a better parent is. And it really comes down to emotional needs, which they're not going to get from a narcissist. So you just make sure they get what they need and plenty of it. Okay. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Alrighty, well, we might leave it there, guys. David, thank you so much for joining us here again. It's fantastic to have you back, and you will be joining us again, won't you?
I hope so. I
I
want to.
hope. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank you so
hopefully,
much. Yeah.
oh, look, any day, any day. So, guys, yeah, hopefully we'll get David back in a few weeks. It's always wonderful to have him here to co-host the show. Now, if you haven't already, please go to David's YouTube channel where he puts out videos to help you with your emotional trauma and lots of different subjects to do with emotional abuse. Look for, well, David, you tell them.
Tell it my
You
YouTube
tell them.
channel. Yeah,
Yeah.
Damar's Coaching. My name is David Demars, and my YouTube channel is Damar's Coaching. Go to my website, daviddemars.com. And please, everybody that's coming on my side, tuning in for maybe the first time or just seeing Nova or meeting her, please go try to support her. She's got a whole bunch of things she's got going on. I haven't looked in a while, and I'm amazed at how well she's doing. And yeah, you can have the benefits of having a therapist and a life coach here helping you with videos. So she's got a whole bunch of knowledge too, and lots of things that can benefit all of you. So please support her too at Brighter Outlook Counseling Service. Is that correct?
Brighter Outlook Narcissistic Abuse Counseling Service.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
On Facebook and Instagram. Facebook, Instagram.
Uh, Facebook and Instagram. Instagram, just look for Nova's Narcissist Abuse Recovery.
Cool.
Yep.
Thank you, Nina, so much. Yeah.
Awesome.
And
Okay, David. Well,
thank
we'll
you
definitely.
all of you. Thank you all of you. And it's good to see you guys again too. Yeah.
Yeah, great to have you, and great to, yeah, I enjoyed tonight so much. It was wonderful.
You
So
too.
yeah, I'll be in contact, no doubt, and I'll see you on this live stream again in a couple of weeks.
Cool. Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Thanks,
Thank you.
David.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Wonderful to have David here. So much fun working with him again, and yeah, just miss doing these live streams with him. So definitely you'll be seeing more of him in the weeks to come. Okay, guys, I hope you're all doing okay wherever you are in the world. I know people in Australia are really having a hard time at the moment, especially people in New South Wales and Victoria with the spread of COVID and the Delta strain. People have just had their lives turned upside down and are really, really struggling with the isolation. And this is only going to make domestic violence and narcissistic abuse worse. So please just do whatever you can, guys. If you are feeling isolated, do whatever you can to reach out, make that phone call, reach out to loved ones through FaceTime, the internet. But yeah, please don't, I guess, suffer in silence and suffer alone. So yeah, my heart pours out for those people. Of course, everyone else who's struggling, but I guess this is close to home. So people in Melbourne, Sydney, and other parts of those two states, many of you. And we hope that this starts to ease up soon. We can see on TV just how incredibly difficult things are for you. Okay, guys, yeah, just to mention again that I am a counsellor, a professional counsellor here in Brisbane, Australia. And my passion, my area of expertise is in working with victims of narcissistic abuse. So no matter where you are in the world, please just reach out, please just inbox me here, and I would love to have a one-on-one session with you to support you in your narcissistic abuse healing journey. So yeah, just reach out, and I'm very good at getting back to my messages. Okay, everyone, see you in 2 or 3 weeks. I will advertise prior. Please share if that's possible for you. And yeah, I will see you again soon. Have an amazing couple of weeks.